First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. And I understand
Thank you, Mayor.
Betty Ann brought these in, you're a sweetheart.
That's it. I'm sorry I didn't bring them up for everybody.
Okay.
Should've known.
I got my Betty.
We need to call the meeting to order, so if everyone please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Everyone please silence your cell phone. Ms. Suttles, roll call please.
Commissioner Plummer,
Here.
Commissioner Brooks.
Here.
Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Withrow.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Thank you, Stephanie. Ms. Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. First up, we have item 4, which is approval of the minutes. We have 2 meetings to consider. First one is A for the January 24th, 2023 meeting. Are there any comments or revisions necessary? Hearing none, may I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to item B, which is for the special meeting that was on January 27, 2023. Are there any comments or revisions to those as presented? Hearing none, may I get a motion to approve?
Second.
We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to item 5, which is special presentations. We do have 3 of them today. I'll be giving the first one, which is just a brief update on the utility billing issue that we had this past month. So wanted to be transparent and let everybody know where we're at and what the path is forward for there. So we did discover that once high bills were published that we had an issue with our utility billing calculation. So there is a manual part of our process where we look at what it costs the city to purchase power. So we purchase power from KYMEA, SEPA, and KU. And so that cost goes into a calculation, which then is factored into the bills. So that is a manual part of the process, and there was an error in that. So I wanted to highlight that this is not revenue for the city. It is a direct cost related to what it costs for us to purchase power, and that there has not been a change in our base rate, which is the part of the rate that the city uses and keeps to fund our personnel, to fund our equipment. So this error was related to that energy cost adjustment. So we will be recalculating the bills as I had indicated when this issue first happened, and we'll put an update on our social media and website along this path as well. And then credits will be issued if appropriate, if people have paid the higher amount and they need a credit back. So at this time, we are still working with our software program to perform the recalculation and attachment to each account, as well as what will it look like for us to do a reprinting. So it may not look exactly like it typically does when we reprint a bill. That's something we're still working through with our software company. It's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we would rather take the time and get it right than have to do it 2 or 3 times. So we did take some additional steps, not only because we had discovered the issue with the energy charge calculation. We noticed that consumption was very high this period, and so this would have been the period that covered those cold days in December. There was a little bit longer of a reading window, but not much, but there was a little bit longer of a reading window. We have not identified any immediate widespread issues related to the actual meter reading process or the import of consumption. So we do want to make sure everybody's aware that even though we will be recalculating these, that the consumption was up for many people. And so the bill is likely going to be a higher month than they typically would see. We saw that with the heat running, especially those who went into emergency heat. So we have looked at some of the really high bills, went out, looked at some of the meters, trying to see if we can identify, if there was an issue on that side. We will, if people have individual issues that they need us to look into, we will continue to do those. But we did not find a widespread issue with the actual consumption side of the calculation. So going forward, I am going to request you guys authorize me to waive any late fees that would be appropriately, typically the 15th, tomorrow would be the day we apply late fees. I think it's only appropriate that we do not waive those, as well as we go into how long this takes us to redo it. That will impact what we look at the end of the month, which is usually our cutoff process and things like that. So I would like to have some flexibility where we don't implement that process this month. Additionally, we have implemented a sign-off process, a validation of that calculation. So it's a two-party calculation going forward, so that not only on the calculation, but how it's entered into the system to try to avoid any issues going forward. We've also implemented some additional steps in the process where we're going to be comparing month over month what people's bills look like, so that we can try to identify any major swings. Now, sometimes there's a valid reason for those major swings, but in order to help us take a little bit closer look at those and identify before the bills go out if there are any issues. So these are a couple of things that we've put in process already that we'll be using. We're also going to be working with KYMEA to see if we can establish a cross-reference to show this is what we're seeing with consumption as far as the people we purchase power from, what are they seeing as consumption, and do those align closely. On the water side, we have our 360, our meter system, that we can cross-reference with our billing system. So we're looking to try to identify a way on the electric side to do that as well. So that is in progress, that we're working with them on that. So those are our short-term resolutions and things that we have put in place to fix this. A little medium and longer term as we look out, we have identified it would cost about $2,000 to $2,500 to do an on-site training for staff on the system. So it's been a very long time, you know, the knowledge of the system has been passed down from employees to employees, and so we believe going direct to source to the software and getting a refresher on the system would be beneficial. So that is something that we are looking to fund and implement this year. As we head into next year's budget, we have also investigated what a software upgrade would look like. So we are on an older version of the system. While the issue we ran into was a manual issue, we're just trying to review our utility billing situation as a whole. So it would cost us approximately 15 to 20 grand to update the software to the newer version of it, as well as any hardware costs. So if the computers weren't fast enough or we needed some server improvements. So that's something that we're looking at as we head into the next year's budget cycle. And then even longer term out there, we are looking at an AMI system for electric. So this is something that we have on water where we can closely look at water consumption. This is the system that we've been talking about, that we've been using to try to identify leaks, working with customers to say, hey, we noticed that you have a abnormally high usage, you may have a leak on your side. That comes from some enhancements in technology. So we don't have that same capability on the electric side, and Aaron can also talk to this if you guys have further questions on it. But converting to an AMI system, there's many benefits, not only just monitoring consumption, but in the field there's many benefits as well. And so we're looking at that. That is estimated to cost about $500,000. So that's more out future years as we look at that and we start to look at what our budgets look like. But I wanted to make you aware that we are considering not only short-term changes, medium-term changes, but as well as looking at some long-term improvements that we need to consider as well. So I wanted to just provide you all with that update and see if you had any questions. We don't have a time frame right now from the software company of when they will finalize the recalculation process, but we will continue to put information out on our social media and our website to try to communicate as clearly. And again, I would ask today that you guys give me that authorization to adjust our process when it comes to either not charging the late fees as well as looking at our cutoff process to
Well,
be
that's what
fair
I
and
was
appropriate.
saying, to be fair, for lack of a better term, for us to say the due date would be the 26th this month, if, you know, if you're gonna forgo the late fees, which obviously we should. I mean, if we need a
Yeah,
motion,
that's-
that's a motion. But for lack of a better term, the due date would be the 26th this month for, okay.
I'll second that.
Do you know how many people went ahead and paid their bills without, what a percentage of the population we serve?
I don't have that off the top of my head, so I don't want it, but I
Okay,
can follow up with
okay.
that information.
You made a motion?
Got a second over here.
Okay.
There is a motion and a second, and that would be to move the due date to the 26th, which would have no late fees applied. I would request consideration that if, depending on how long this does take us to get the calculation, if there can be additional authorization to not go through the shut-off process and everything this month, depending on how long that process does take.
Add that to the motion.
Okay.
All right.
We have amended and an amended second, thank you. Stephanie, can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Motion carries.
On to a little bit more positive of a topic. Commissioner Gray, I believe you have somebody very special here with us today that you would like to recognize on behalf of the city and the commission.
I went to the turkey bingo this year. It's the first time I ever went. And I've known Pat Phipps for a long time. And I was out of commission there for a couple of years with an illness. And I came into this and I see this Pat Phipps that I first met with as much energy, if not more. Just going as hard as she could go for the it's all about the kids. You know, she'll say this is about the kids. The Kiwanis was reborn. Anyway, let's read this. Let's do this, Pat. Come on up here. It's all right. Lucky to get a sucker. You
Oh,
didn't give me-
oh, no, I did not
I'm gonna
get a
give you my
sucker.
sucker.
Thank
Happy
you.
Valentine's Day. All right. Whereas we are here today to express special recognition for Pat Phipps and to honor her for her distinguished and lifelong community engagement, a loving mother and a Ganny
Danny.
to not just her own children and grandchildren, but to the children of Paris and Bourbon County. Whereas Pat Phipps began volunteering at the organization of Kiwanis in the year 2012, that's according to
Yeah, 12 years.
Okay. Starting out as treasurer and then by serving 2 terms as president, she dedicated countless hours of her time to bring joy and uplift the children of Paris and Bourbon County by leading the community Christmas for Kids events formerly known as Toys for Tots. Whereas Pat Phipps revitalized the Kiwanis organization in Paris and Bourbon County to national recognition with her leadership and dedicated actions by the way of mobilizing the community collectively and personally by shopping for each of the children who benefit from the program. Whereas, on behalf of the entire City Commission, I want to express our sincere appreciation to you, Pat, for your dedication to our community. Now, therefore, signed by the mayor, so. I, Johnny Plummer, Mayor of the City of Paris, by virtue of authority vested in me, and in recognition of Pat Phipps, hereby proclaim the week of, I was supposed to get this to you sooner. Volunteer Appreciation Week, and the witness hereto set my hand and cause this still to be affixed. Signed by the mayor, signed by myself, attested by Stephanie.
Steve, I do have something to say. Imagine that. I'm a nervous wreck. I truly am. My insides are just like Jell-O. Well, maybe. I remember the first time I came to a meeting and I had to ask for something for Kiwanis. And I was so nervous I had to have Mike literally present it to everyone because I was so scared. I'm getting better. I accept this wonderful accommodation or whatever the word would be. But it also goes to Kiwanis. It goes to Sunny Offit, to Sissy West, to Sarah Thwaites and Leanne Abner. It goes to the members. We all put in so much to do for the kids in our community. I just can't, I'm at a, I really am kind of at a loss for words. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of this. So can I get a picture so I can put it on Facebook? A lot of people are taking pictures. Huh? Okay, well, I mean, I just was gonna go. Oh.
I'm very lucky to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Oh, and the yard sale's coming up in case you got any donations. And the golf scramble, May 7th.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, Pat.
Thank you, thank you.
So the next item that we have, I'm thrilled about it as well. So as you all know, we had a joint meeting with the fiscal court last night and provided an update on the transfer station project, which has really brought, in my opinion, the community together. And there's so many pieces and parts to this project, and so many people have given so much time and dedication to seeing this go forward in a great way. So today we have Mr. Bill Hinkle here today, which Mr. Alverson had put me in contact with, thankfully. And he is a landscape architect professor, and he has so graciously is going to be working with his students to vision a little bit about what the future of our transfer station revitalization project could look like. So Mr. Hinkle's here to tell you a little bit about his thoughts and where he sees the project going forward for him and his students. Yes, thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you for giving a little time. I am a landscape architect. I'm also a landscape contractor, and this year I'm an educator. I have a class of second-year landscape architecture students, 6 women and 4 men. They're in their early 20s and very energetic and ready to go to work, and they are excited about this project at the transfer station. What we are bringing to, I guess, the city of Paris is we'll have 10 different students' ideas for how the park and transfer station site could be reimagined. We have met with numerous citizens of Paris to date, Mr. Alverson for one, Vanessa Logan, Sharon Fields, Anna Allen Edwards, just to mention a few. And I've had conversations with Andrea as well. So this is an opportunity for my class to learn about a major project in a small Kentucky town where a dump, a transfer station is being removed. And ultimately there'll be a park of some sort restored. I've also had conversations with Russell Clark as well, and he's with the National Park Service. I know you know that. He's very excited about what my class is doing, and he wants to partner with us as well. And what he's really bringing, aside from probably 50 years of experience, is the imagining of expanding the project into the neighborhood and into the region further. So he's bringing a lot of positive energy too. So thank you. This is a real honor for me to be here. And if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer them right now.
When would you start?
We'd like to have a site visit tomorrow. It's going to be a nice day. My class meets on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We can be here by 2 o'clock, and we just want to do a walkabout. I've shared all of the internet information that I have to date with my class members too. So we're ready, and they're excited about this.
we need to do anything officially? I know usually we have some forms.
We have like a
just fill out.
volunteer agreement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That we could,
We can do that.
it's like the city had, we have like a standard volunteer agreement, like if people wanna come
Okay,
help clean up the park, I wrote it for
Sure.
that purpose.
I understand.
But it seems to be fitting too, and I'm sure Mike or somebody's got arrangements to assist. It's not like you're gonna go crawling through, but.
Well, we're ready.
Well, that may be a different issue.
Do you know when we might be able to see your students' results? Is it like their final exam and do we get to grade it?
This project is gonna span the rest of the semester. We'll finish toward the end of April. I allowed 5 weeks for our first project. I think this is gonna be much more involved and in-depth and time-consuming and interesting and fun. They probably won't finish until midnight on the 23rd of April. So we'll have a jury at our classroom in the Good Barn at UK. And I would love to see a public presentation somewhere in Paris, because I think that there's going to be a lot of energy poured into this project, a lot of young ideas. I think it'd be fun to share it and maybe post the plans somewhere where they can be reviewed at people's leisure.
Sounds like a great thing.
Mr. Hinkle, we appreciate you and all your students' energy and dedication. Mr. Smith right there in the corner is who will be able to accommodate that tomorrow, and we
Thank
can
you.
get the volunteer forms, but
Thank you.
he's gonna be who you're gonna coordinate with there, and so
Thank
we'll
you.
be able to get you guys out there and just look at the area.
And we're looking forward to it. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Nestle?
I hate to interrupt you, but he will be at our March 20th meeting.
Yes.
All of you will be notified, and he will be bringing the students at that time.
Okay.
Okay, so you can meet them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That does bring us to number 6, consent item agenda. We have items A through K. Are there any items that any of the commission would like removed to discuss separately? Hearing none, just want to highlight, I know that we have the electric department is moving forward with a standard operating procedure for their safety policy. Wanted to take just a quick second to highlight that, because I do commend them on the continued dedication we see towards enhancing our safety efforts and keeping that at the top of our priority. So we anticipate there will be a citywide policy that comes out as well, and we're gonna work with the departments and encourage them to keep safety top of mind, because safety for our employees is paramount.
What dates did we set up for spring cleanup?
The spring cleanup date, so March will be the free drop-off at the transfer station. There is a limit of 4 loads for their curbside. For large items will be March 23rd. And then limb pickup will be the 27th through the 31st. And we will also publish that in the newspaper and social media
Okay.
as well.
Thank you.
If there are no further comments, questions, or concerns, may I get a motion to approve consent agenda items A through K?
So moved.
Okay, a motion
Second.
and a second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, thank you. The next item that we have up for consideration as we move on to regular agenda is the award of our municipal building elevators bid, and Mike is gonna brief you guys on that item quickly for you.
Good morning.
So we've done a second round of bids. The first ones we thought were a little far apart. After we got the second round of bids, they were still far apart, but, after reviewing it, we've talked with Murphy, we've talked with DC. The big difference is DC wants to put in new cars. Our state inspection and Murphy's inspection said we don't need new cars, we just need we can upgrade them, make them look good and all that. without having to spend that extra $300,000 to upgrade. Murphy can get started on drawings today. DC Elevator wouldn't be able to start until spring of ~24. So, now there is, some price changes from the original bid. It went up $6,100, $6,200. The price of copper's going up, the price of everything, and it's fluctuating, so we're trying to get this, get something held down, that way we can get a pretty consistent price. But I recommend that we go with Murphy Elevators for $1,800. And I can answer any questions.
I'd say this, the elevators in this building have been an issue for a long time. We've been looking and looking and looking, and I would move that we accept that bid and start today or tomorrow if you can, so.
And there's several upgrades that will help.
Second.
We'll be able to look at I'll be able to connect my phone to the elevator, tell Murphy it's throwing this code, they know what parts to bring before they even come up here. They'll have the stuff with them, so that's a benefit of it.
I'll second his motion.
So just so we're gonna, not only to accept the bid, but we're gonna authorize to continue to finalize any language on the contract and authorize the mayor and the city manager and clerk to sign as appropriate.
Yes,
Is that
what she said.
confirmed in that bid, that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Could you call the roll on this, Stephanie? Thank you.
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
you.
And so, I just want to take a quick second, because typically I put purchasing related items on the consent agenda, but because of the size of this one, as well as when we started it, it was under a different commission, and as we come into a new one, wanted to make sure that you guys all know that the goal is nothing is on consent agenda that it, is contentious or cause any concern, so wanted to always err on that side of caution by putting that on the regular agenda. The next item that comes to us is 7B. This is the strategic work plan. This is another item that is on the regular agenda because of the transition from the commission. This is working with the Kentucky League of Cities. A couple of years back, they did start a process of creating a work plan. And so, Ms. Lydia, if you don't mind actually scrolling down a little bit so we could see, perfect. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a strategic plan versus a work plan versus day-to-day operational works that the department does. And so this is just a little graphic that shows as we create these projects where we're at. So this work plan would fall between the strategic goals and the priority action items, and we wanted to bring this together as we get into budget season to say there's a lot of things to focus on the next 2 to 5 years, and what do we want those priorities to be. So this is actually a $0 cost contract, so Kentucky League of Cities is implementing. They will come on site, they will have a meeting, they will facilitate that discussion so that we can all have a consensus on where our priorities are. So there's no cost to this contract. I just wanted to make sure before we head in that direction, it does require a commitment of probably a couple hours of sitting down at a workshop type meeting and putting together thoughts. We've also talked about potentially doing a quick citizen survey to see what their thoughts are. So we can take this a couple of different directions, but wanted to make sure if there were any concerns or thoughts on how we move forward on this before we sign the ink and get everything scheduled, that we took everything into consideration.
Sounds like a good price. We paid for it last time. I'm all for it, yeah.
All right, wonderful. May I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the scope of work to continue forward on the action plan?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Stephanie, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow,
Yes.
Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, as we look to schedule this, would it be the preference of the commission to do it on an off Tuesday, so we meet on the 2nd and the 4th to do it a first and a third, or after a regularly scheduled commission meeting. Is there a preference as far as your guys' calendar goes, how we schedule this?
I prefer to do it after.
A regular one?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. All right. Yes,
Could we pick up the item from last night?
yes.
That's left up there? Do you
Yes,
mind?
sir.
Okay, since we're on the regular agenda. So I think everyone recalls last night at the joint meeting, one of the takeaway points was to formalize a written agreement with the county that allows access to the property for the waste transfer station, not only for city employees to be out there, but current contractors, potential contractors to inspect as they need to do bid, and then there's a little bit, or maybe a lot, I don't know, of site prep work that needs to be done before the plat's finalized and the conveyance into the city is needed. So I think the takeaway point last night was the county attorney was gonna take the first draft of that and then send it to me, and so what I would guess is a motion for you all to enter into an agreement with the county for access to the to-be acquired waste transfer property for inspection, review, site work, and anything else needed to keep the project moving along. And then for the mayor to sign that once we get it completed.
So moved.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Stephanie, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Fields,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Withrow,
Yes.
Mayor Plummer,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Brian. That does bring us to reports. We'll start with outside agencies. Ms. Betty Ann, do you want to start us off?
I'll try. She's gonna go for it word for word. Good morning.
Good morning.
As you all remember last time, I told you good news about Bourbon County receiving ARPA funding. Bourbon County is also a part of the Bluegrass region for tourism. And the Bluegrass region, I'm happy to announce, will be receiving $500,000, $500,000 from the governor this Friday, which is for, again, promotion of 15 counties in that region, and we're one of them. So I'll be going on Friday to, with the rest of the group, to accept the check from the governor. And the plan for the idea that we proposed was called Joyride. So it's a Jeep that goes around to everybody's counties, and there'll be itineraries and maps and things to do in every one of the counties. So be looking for that. If you see anything that says Joyride, know that that's part of our plan. So that was exciting news for us again. Of course, it is Black History Month, so the flags up and down Main Street are in celebration of Black History, and it started off this month with Hopewell Museum and the library. They have an exhibit all month long, as well as some other activities that will be going on throughout the month. If you all remember last year, we applied for a T-Mobile grant to try to turn the parking lot between 5th and 6th Street into like an event space when it wasn't in use as a parking lot. Unfortunately, we were not one of the ones chosen for that, but Lauren has found a grant through Lowe's, so we're gonna try again. Once again, it's a national.
It was actually a Lowe's manager that recommended that we apply for it
Yeah.
with that project.
But it's all across the United States, so all we can do is try. So we'll try again. We already have the other grant written, so we'll be using, portions of that. So hopefully, second time may be good. Might take the third time, but we're eventually gonna get there one way or another. We're gonna turn that into a event space. So, I don't know if I told you all this last time. I think I might have April 14th and 15th have been, April 14th and September 15th have been set for Art Walk. So next month we'll be asking to have the street closed. With that said, we are also a member, Bourbon County is, of the Licking Valley Adventures Group. So I have brought you all some information. Tracy Smith Pratt Savage used to be the chairman. Now it is Joy Brown from Moorhead, and she's hit the ground running. She has already, we've designed rack cards, and we have a new promotion called Enjoy a 12-County Adventure. And we've got rack cards to give out in all the counties. The last project that they did, if you all remember, was the map. I don't know if you remember or not, but I'm gonna give you all this information just to look at. I have hundreds of these maps in my office, so if anybody wants one. They are the 2019 edition, but there's still, there's only a couple of things that might be wrong, but they're pretty cute maps, nice to give out to visitors. I've also brought you all Keeneland and Travel Host Magazine ads to look at for the winter. We're getting ready to start on the spring ads, so if there's no questions, that's all I have.
Of the 500,000 Blue Glass region, what will be Bourbon's share of that?
We don't do it that way. It's going to be about the whole region all the time.
So it's not specific.
So it won't be specifically Bourbon County, but we will be included in all that.
Okay.
We'll go on Friday and meet, and I'll have more information the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Sandra?
She's a hard one to follow, because I'm gonna talk about flood maps. Still in there.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. All right, so this week, we have a planning commission meeting on Thursday evening. It's at 6:30 right here in this room. We've got one development plan on the agenda. It is for the old car wash that's off of Wesley and Fords Mill Road. It recently was demolished. It's right on the back side of Fire Station number 2. There is proposed an office building to be located there, so that will be on the agenda for this Thursday evening. We're also going to provide an update on the revitalization overlay district for the west side neighborhood. Right now, Patrick Watson, our attorney, has been working on finalizing the ordinance language, so we are going to be providing an update on that. We're not expecting a vote this Thursday, but I did want to make you aware of that. We do have a Board of Adjustment meeting coming up on February 21st, and that's again right here in this room at 5:30. We have multiple items on the agenda, variance requests for small accessory buildings and conditional use permit requests for an Airbnb out in the unincorporated county. I brought up, as I came up, flood maps. I did want to make you aware that for the first time since 2011, the flood maps, the National Flood Insurance Program maps will be updated. Now, I have received preliminary maps. That means, so preliminary is another word for draft maps. So I have the draft maps in my office currently, the hard copies. Something that we're working on with a mapping consultant right now is getting those preliminary maps up on our website on bourboncountyplanning.com, so that as we, as we're making the maps accessible, instead of saying, oh, come to my office to come see the maps will be on our website so that people can look at how the flood maps compare from the 2011 to the ultimately it will be 2022 will be the new flood maps. So these are regulatory maps, and we have ordinances that are make it stricter for redevelopment in areas that are flood prone. So that's just one thing to be aware of, that in the future I'll be, I'll make an announcement about the maps being available on our website. We also will be having 1 or 2 community meetings. So we will advertise them in the newspaper, and the State Division of Water will come, and they will we'll have stations set up where people can come and look at their properties. The last thing to make you aware of is we will be doing a mailing. So the flood-prone properties that are located in the regulatory floodplain, there's close to 150 of them here in the city of Paris. Our office will actually do a mailing out to all of those properties to make them aware of the map updates, and to, make them aware of the community meetings. So, just want to make you aware of that coming up. Regarding the West Side neighborhood, so we talked quite a bit about that. We talked about it last night at the joint meeting. For those of you who were not present at the meeting, just wanted to make you aware that we are still waiting on the results of the Phase 1 environmental assessment for the site from the Division of Water. Once we get those results, an application will be submitted to EPA Region 4. At that point, the state will hand the baton to EPA, and then EPA will facilitate the Phase 2 environmental assessment. So the Phase 2 is much more intensive. The Phase 1 is kind of like, it's almost like a windshield survey, so to speak. So you're not doing anything intensive. They didn't take samples during the Phase 1 assessment. The Phase 2 assessment, they'll actually have environmental scientists come in, take samples, and actually be able to determine what the level of contamination is of the site. And then that will determine what type of remediation needs to occur. So we are, that's the update regarding the West Side. The last thing I want to make you all aware of, Mike Withrow will be excited about this one. We had a meeting on the Safe Routes to School grant yesterday. And so for those of you who are not aware of it, the city received a grant from the State Transportation Cabinet 7+ years ago. And there have been a lot of different changes in the scope of work of the grant throughout. But yesterday we had a Teams meeting. I think it was the first time that we had the Transportation Cabinet, the contract engineers, and the City of Paris all on the same call. So it was very productive, and we're feeling confident that we're gonna make it happen this year. So where that project is at is in front of Bourbon Heights. It would connect Bourbon High School campus to along Main Street to Clintonville Road, and then down Clintonville Road to Sunset Drive. So that's the span of the sidewalk when it gets put in. We're at the point where the right-of-way consultant is preparing to go out to those property owners, which there's only 4 property owners, to obtain the right-of-way so that we can start construction. So that's the update on Safe Routes to School. We're still working on it. So that's it from me.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Miss Lauren, you're up.
Yes, ma'am. I brought you all a full box of these as well. This is our magazine that we published in the second week of January. Is when that came out. The purpose of the magazine, the reason that we decided to put out a magazine, there's a lot of questions people have when coming to look at Paris as a potential place to live, to work, to develop a business. And that is what this magazine is for. It was meant to answer the questions for people that want to come and live here, for the people that want to come and work here, or the people that wanna come and develop a business here. So, if you're referring to this or showing it to somebody, just think of it as a marketing, opportunity for potential for our community. It is not a tourism magazine, it is a business directory almost, meaning, meant to market our community to anything that is potential. So this will be an annual for the time being. If I ever get a second person in my office, it might be a semi-annual, but it filled up the month of December for me. So I'm very happy with the product that we put out. And hopefully this is something that for years to come will be worth our time, and as long as it's supported financially, we can continue to do this. So, and it was, so I'm happy with the product. We have a lot of things coming up, so I'm excited about. The first thing, I'll go ahead if I can get approval. Did you get that?
It was on consent in the past.
It was on consent, okay,
Yes.
good. So never mind, Tour de Paris 5K is happening. I didn't realize it was on the consent agenda. So that makes me happy. That is gonna be, April the 8th in downtown Paris. I'll get with the police. I usually only require 2 police cars for that event. One to lead the race and then one at 2nd and Main Street. So I'm excited about that. Last year it brought 180 runners, not all of them local. And they spent some money in Paris. So I was very happy with that result that we had for that event. We have the West Side panel coming up February 21st. They're gonna do their presentation to the chamber membership. I've had them at Leadership Central Kentucky, which is very enlightening to that group. I've had them at Leadership Bourbon County. So now we're gonna have them present to the chamber membership at the Paris-Bourbon County Library, and that is February 21st at noon. Also, please put this on your all's calendars and please RSVP to the emails I sent to your all's City of Paris emails. The local elected officials breakfast is March 16th, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. All this is, it gives you all about 2 to 3 minutes to stand up, say who you are, what you're excited about in your positions, what you want to focus on in your positions, and literally it's just an opportunity for the community to get to know you and say who you are. So that way it's just putting a face to a position. I just think it's super beneficial for every elected official to get up in front of the membership and just so people know who you all are. That's all it's meant to do.
Where's that located at? Where do you?
It's gonna be at the multi-purpose room at Bourbon County Schools, which is gonna be, it's the old auditorium at Bourbon County Middle School. Usually we have trouble finding a place that fits, 100 and something people, so that's what we're doing there. Applications are also currently now open for our 2nd year of Leadership Bourbon County. If anybody knows anybody that's interested in that program, it's $250 to participate, and then those will stay open until about mid-April. So we have plenty of time to get those applications in. We just went ahead and opened them so people could go ahead and start applying. Small Business Day at the Capitol through the Kentucky Chamber is March the 1st. I sent out an agenda to the membership yesterday, if anybody has seen that. If anybody's interested in going to that, you can register through the link that I sent out. I'll probably be in attendance this year just because they have so many things on the agenda related to small business this year that they're gonna be advocating for. So I'll probably be in attendance at that. And then we have a ribbon cutting this Friday, the 17th at 9 a.m. for the Friends of the Paris-Bourbon County Library at their new location, which is 721 High Street, right next to the library. And so that's exciting for them as well. And then last thing, we'll be hosting a small business panel. I don't have a date confirmed for this yet, but I have a really good panel lined up sometime in April. And it's going to be the owner of Country Boy Brewing, the owner of the ice cream place in Lexington. Crank and Boom. Thank you. And then the owner of the coffee shop in Versailles, that she does such good social media. And so I'm excited about this panel just because it's such a good, good group of really good small business owners from our region that we're gonna bring in to hopefully do a best practices panel for our small business owners as well. So that's gonna be upcoming, and I don't have that date confirmed, but once I have that confirmed, I'll let you all know as well. That's what I have going on right now, if anybody has any questions.
Lauren, how many of these books, magazines did you publish?
So I was gonna do 1,250 at first, and then it ended up being not a lot more to go ahead and bump up to 2,500, double. It was about $900 more, and so we ended up buying 2,500. Now that's all there is for this year. Next year, if we start allowing people to purchase magazines and regaining income off of it, I may do more.
Okay.
So.
We gave these out at the library, some of these, and many parents, people who've lived here forever, did not know that some of the businesses existed that you have here. They did not know, on page 4, you have some of the government officials. They did not know, and so this has been a good tool for a lot of the people who are not only coming into Bourbon County, but who already live here in Bourbon County.
Absolutely. Because we all need to get on the same page and walk the same walk and talk the same talk, and that's my goal with these types of things is to have that out there for people to be informed as citizens as well.
Mhm.
So, any other questions? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to staff reports. Anything, Ms. Cynthia? Erin? Matt?
Fire chief's hiding around the corner there.
No, I don't have anything, thank you. I deal with my time.
Sorry.
My time.
All right, Stephanie? Brad?
Spent the last week working with the city auditors, hopefully trying to get a lot of their items, their open items kind of cleared up. I think we're gonna have, maybe towards the end of February, a draft of the financial statements and the audit report and everything. So hopefully we'll get that last week of February, first week there of March, and have it for the first meeting in March for you guys. You gonna say anything about budget?
Go ahead. There's lots to say about budget.
Yeah, there's a lot. We, last Tuesday had a staff department head meeting, started rolling out our budget process and everything, so you may hear some people start talking and coming with you with questions, requests, and those kind of things. We just kind of want to let you guys know that we're in the budget process phase and the planning phase right now.
Lots on the table, so we started with major capital requests, and most of the departments have turned those in, and now they're gonna turn to their regular operating, so we'll likely break down and do various presentations on things that go. So for example, we'll have a small probably presentation on what are our revenues looking like, and then what are our capital expenses, our operation, our community partners. As the judge indicated, last night, him and I have been having discussions about pulling together a joint fiscal court and commission meeting to just talk about the joint agencies that we fund together and give them an opportunity to one time present their budget requests instead of having to come to both entities and make that request. So be on the lookout. There's lots coming for that. Anything
That's
else?
all I have.
Wonderful. So I wanted to start off mine by, Kevin, if you don't mind coming up. I wanted to make a very special introduction. I know many of you guys have met him here, but this is Kevin Mayhorn. He is our new assistant city manager, and he has already hit the ground running, made close contacts with staff. I think that as a team, it's all coming together very nicely. So I wanted to introduce him and give him just a few moments to talk about himself and make an introduction.
Hello everybody, I'm honored for this opportunity. I'm glad to be here. As she said, I've been here, this is going my 3rd week now, so I've tried to be real involved with everybody and try to, find the good workflow between what Jamie needs from me and what I can do to help. So still learning everybody and how things operate here, but kind of here to help and do anything that I can to try to make things as good as possible. If you guys have any questions for me, I try my best to answer.
I'd say welcome aboard. We've met, probably got to know you a little bit, so I don't have any real questions.
And of course, he's being humble. He has a tremendous amount of utility experience all the way from, management to the groundwork, and so a tremendous resource for us to bring in. And as we look at our larger projects and project management, and not only does he have the utility side, but he has experience related to human resources and risk management, and so a very well-rounded addition to the team, and we're happy he's here.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you all.
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Just a couple of other quick items for me. We did meet with Kentucky American last week and to talk about a proposed project that they have, that they've been working on, and their goal is to get an increased water flow around Millersburg. So there are some concerns and items that staff and I are talking through, and we've all been talking about the idea of having some type of emergency interconnectivity with Kentucky American. So we've had discussions with them. We're going back and forth about what it's called, whether it's a convenience connectivity or emergency connectivity, but we're talking. We're all in the room, we're talking. There are some hurdles to talk through, there are some concerns, so I did want to seek authority to work with Brian and his team, and or possibly, if needed, outside consultant, because our next step would be to go back to Kentucky American and propose some language for a potential interconnectivity, just for our purposes, on an emergency basis. So I'm hoping that, don't have much details of what that's going to look like at this time, but I wanted to make sure that you all are aware and that you guys were okay with me working with Brian and his team. And if we find that we need additional expertise on that, to go ahead and start that process, because we don't want to be behind on that.
Yes, I think so. That's been a long time coming. I think, Brian, you do have people at your firm that are experts in that, so that'll help. And if you need a motion or whatever to move forward, I think we're good. Okay. That's a long time coming too. That short-term 18-month contract is now on 7 or 8 years, so we need to get that taken care of.
Yes, absolutely. We're also going to be meeting today with a group of financial advisors the city has used in the past. They're public financial advisors, just to hear what they have to offer, what they can bring to the table. So I anticipate that we'll do some additional research. There's a lot of programs that offer a look at making recommendations on how we manage our financial health as a city. So in the next coming months, you'll probably see some additional conversation on that topic. This Friday, KMUA, Kentucky Municipal Association, is having their legislative day in Frankfort that I'll be attending, as well as next week is City Days at the Capitol with Kentucky League of Cities. So monitoring the legislation that's coming around for that. One of the big legislations that, from a KLC standpoint, that we're seeing that there's a push for is there are bills out there that want to make local election have to put their party affiliation on the ballot. So there's a little bit of pushback on that. That's probably the biggest thing that we're, as cities, seeing people push back on. But that's one of the major bills that we're taking a close look at.
And I think school boards as well. They want it on school board elections as well.
So I believe, yes, the school boards are on there.
They want to make everything partisan. That's
They do want to make everything partisan.
More independents are registered every day now, so why would you go for partisan?
And so the current setup is we can change our ways and take a vote as a city to run partisan elections already. We have that option if we so choose. I think they were saying out of the hundreds of cities in Kentucky, 2 of them have elected to do that. So really, as the Kentucky League of Cities looks at it, we often talk about home rule, right? The decisions about local impact are best made locally. So anytime that there's an overreach in legislation of them trying to control something that should be locally controlled, we hold pretty steadfast that that's a concern for us as a local municipality. So either way, how you come down on whether it should be a partisan election or not, the viewpoint, from the Kentucky League of Cities is we already have that ability to make that decision locally, and this is taking that away. So it's an invasion on home rule, if you will. So those are some of the things. Obviously, there's others I can send you guys. They do a bill tracker. I think there's over 300 bills published this year. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but send you guys a site that you can follow that, and we can continue to talk about any priority items. KYMEA is also next week. I did print for you last night at the joint meeting. The judge talked about Commerce Lexington. I provided each of you the short summary that was provided. There's also a 50-page comprehensive plan that I was not going to print copies of.
Thank you.
But I will scan it and email it to you all so you can see it as well. So that's an item that we can, once everybody's had a chance to review and digest, we can have some further discussion on, but want to make sure we're thoroughly reviewing the plan and the information before we make any decisions. And then the last thing that I wanted to update on is we had previous discussions related to a company called Tetra Tech related to brownfield improvements. And they're really the professional in the agency to create a path forward. There's a lot going on this project, and there's a lot of timeliness that wants to move forward, but it doesn't always align with the actual redevelopment versus the building of the new area. The timelines aren't meshing perfectly well. So to have a professional who's done this before, really as a consultant, come in, lay that framework out for us in a realistic manner of what can we do, what can't we do, what grants can we go after, what does that timeline look like for us, I think would benefit us tremendously. So originally there was a quote for $20,000 for that type of path forward. Andrea has been working with ICMA, and we're hopeful, we'll have a conversation later this week. We're hopeful that we're going to be able to secure possibly some funding for that. So that is the reason originally that was going to be on this agenda item, but talking with Tetra Tech, we deferred it, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it back to you next meeting with some funding. No guarantee, but that's the reason that you're not seeing that on this agenda, even though we had previously talked that it would come on this agenda. And I think that's enough for me, so. Mayor, you want to move on?
I'm fine. And all I do want to say, just get out and support your 2 local high schools. The basketball tournament starts next Monday. And I just need to get out and support them. And I think the games are played at Bourbon County High School, so you don't have to travel too far.
Okay, you all did receive a revised agenda that does request for an executive session. Brian, do we need to read?
Yeah, there was a filing yesterday by the original plaintiffs on the zone change lawsuit, and I need to discuss that with you all.
I would move we go into executive session per KRS 61.8101C for discussion of litigation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.